So I just watched the season finale. I can't believe it's the season finale of White Lotus season 3. Now I know I'm a little late, but it was a bit hard to watch because part of me was, I mean, when I first started this, I was excited and ready to know who the killer and the victim was, but then I kind of got attached to some of these wacky characters, and then I got really sad at the thought of some of them dying. So let's start off with who did die and who did the shooting. So our poor Chelsea was caught in the crossfires of Rick's rage. Which in hindsight is a beautiful sort of like, it was kind of always there, right? She was saying he's the yin to her yang. She's hope, he's rage, and one of us will eventually win the battle. And unfortunately it looked like Rick's rage won the battle, where he, like, after going back to the hotel, finally reuniting and potentially a happy ending where they're both on the same page of wanting to be together forever, which was again really cute. You saw Chelsea's eyes light up when Rick was like, yeah, that's the plan. He sees his the father's killer, who then says get out of here and shows him a gun, and then he knows he's going to relapse. He knows he's going to get into trouble. He goes to his therapist, who takes an appointment. I know she's going to regret that for the rest of her life. And he, instead of helping him, he like ends up waiting at the bench and then sees his father's killer, and then in a moment of rage grabs the gun and shoots him, only to find out that's his dad, according to at least his wife. But like it's kind of like a weird thing to say. So at one point you're just immediately saddened for Rick because he looks just as lost and confused as you are in that moment. On the other hand, you're a little, in hindsight, I'm a little pissed at the father because like he had an opportunity. Like, I understand he didn't say it at the house because he was literally like, who is this kid? And then he like had a gun in his face. But if your son came and was like, you ruined my life, and pointed a gun in your face, like, wouldn't you at least, if you're gonna go see him, instead of threatening him again, potentially just either he could have easily just like being the bigger person and like either let his son go on with this idea that he is his father's killer, or own up to it and be like, no, I am your father, your mother lied, let's do a DNA test and let me prove it to you. But instead he did nothing of the sort. He acted immature and he was like, oh, if your mom's a liar and this thing, and I have a gun, so don't try that shit again. Seriously, do you not like mature? Like, ugh, I'm like disappointed because all of this could have been definitely avoided. And then obviously it starts this huge shootout and stuff like that. And poor Chelsea is caught in the crossfire, and just looks up very tragically as into her lover's eyes as she passes away, who then is in such denial that he starts carrying her, giving our security guard a moment to actually shine, and we find out whether or not he is capable of pulling the trigger, and he is. He kills him. So that's a tragic end for our star-crossed lovers. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the family. Oh my gosh, that family. Like, the whole time I was like, in my head, I'm like, what's happening? This father, is he gonna do it? And then I'm actually surprised they showed like a couple sips, the family taking a couple sips. I thought, oh my god, he's actually gonna go through it. And then he knocks it out of his son's hand and stops them. But is too drugged up, I guess, to realize there's stuff in the blender. And like, oh my god, that scene where like Lachlan was like drinking it and dying was the most painful to watch, because like I kept hoping, I felt that he was gonna die, but I kept hoping he was gonna be saved because how much they stretched it out. I was like, maybe he'll be saved, maybe he'll be saved. Like, his family walks around and doesn't realize he's choking, and he chokes for a very long time. He throws stuff up and he's like, you think he's gonna live, and like there's a hole crawling in under the water, and before he loses his energy, and then his father is the one who finds him and has that scream of agony, or like call for help. I'm glad in a way, like Lachlan made it. Like it's like a silver lining on like all the tragedy that happened, and like of him, of all the family, even though he jerked off his brother, which is weird. He's like a good kid. Like he is really like the people pleaser in like that family. And if he had died, it would have been very tragic. And then the friends. Okay, let me talk about that friendship, because I was so thrilled to see the resolution of that, where like after all that fights, all that thing, they had this moment of genuine connection where she was honest. She was like, honestly, you guys, like, she acknowledges the differences and feels like every choice she made was a failure, but she's not that's not how she's going to choose to define it. She's going to look at like the fact of like her friendships and relationships with them because it makes her happy, which I think was such a genuine like I can resonate with that so much, because like when you have good friends, you have good friends who like cheer you on and stuff like that, as chaotic and messy as it is, you can like, they do bring you joy. And I do have friends like that where like I see them and instantly it's like a rush of adrenaline and like the happiest smile on your face. So I resonated with her so much, but that was such a beautiful speech, and like I teared up as I was listening into it. So it was a nice sort of cute resolution for the friends, who are even more bonded by the traumatic experience of like watching a person die. And then finally we have Belinda, who let go of her love in Thailand to embrace the wealthiness that she now has. $5 million. Her son had no fear. Like he just was like, 5 million. I choked on that water just like Belinda did. But kudos for them. And he did a good job of negotiating it. I'm actually proud of also Belinda for playing a little hardball. But yeah, so it was a good episode. I will probably watch the earlier seasons because I actually did like this quite a bit. I just have to be careful not to be too invested in some characters, because it was very hard to watch Lachlan almost die, and then very hard to watch Chelsea and Rick pass away. But yeah, but you, did you like it? Did you enjoy it?